Look, the rules of the game are simple. If you make a lot of money, the world will be your playground. You'll get access to the best things that this world has to offer. You'll be living a life that 99% of people could only dream of. Now, on the contrary, if you barely make any money, you're broke, the world will be your own personal torture chamber. You'll have no choice but to do the things that you absolutely don't want to do just to survive. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I used to have to sleep in a basement infested with rats, and I did many internships which I absolutely did not want to do, and they were unpaid. But since I was broke, no one gave me a choice, no one cared. And after working my ass off for years, experiencing a life of luxury, of abundance, of freedom, I can tell you I would never want to go back to what life was like for me a couple years ago. You've got to realize that the choices that you make on a daily basis actually determine where you end up in life. Ever since the arrival of the internet, the rules of the game have changed. Whereas before, if you were born in a low-income, a poor family, you were pretty much guaranteed to stay poor for the rest of your life. But nowadays, that isn't so true anymore. Because you see, now more than ever, everyday people from every corner of the globe get access to life-changing opportunities. And if you're seeing this right now, it's no coincidence. The truth is, the internet and social media are still pretty recent inventions. And to be completely honest with you, it's the new gold rush. Studies have shown that there are more and more young millionaires. And by young, I mean under the age of 30. And guess what? The craziest part about it is that this trend is on the rise. So this is great news for you. It means you're early. And guess what? The first people to notice an opportunity and to take advantage of it, they always get the biggest wins. And year after year, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's getting more and more difficult to become successful. So the longer you wait to seize this opportunity, the worse it's gonna get. Wait a year, the game has just gotten 10 times harder. Wait 10 years, by now it's probably 1,000 times more difficult to make your first $1 million in profit coming from nothing. A lot of people might see my post on social media and they think, oh, this dude obviously is just a lucky rich kid. But my father's a nurse, my mother a nursing assistant, so not exactly the wealthy type. But coming back to the topic at hand, you need to stop waiting for things to magically happen on their own and commit to getting started. Now that's okay if you don't already know what to do. The truth is, it can be extremely confusing to know exactly what you're supposed to do when you're just getting started. I mean, I'll tell you this, I had no clue what the hell I was doing when I started my first businesses. But because I was willing to admit that I simply didn't know everything and learn from successful mentors, whether it was by reading their books, watching their free content on social media, or buying their paid courses whenever I could afford them. And also because I was willing to roll up my sleeves and to put in the dirty work every single day, no matter how tough it would get. Over the course of time, I started to gather valuable experience in business and to start seeing decent results. My goal with this video is to share with you everything that you need to get to your first $10,000 a month in profit online as quickly as possible. And the reason why I really want to insist on hitting that target as quickly as possible is because at the end of the day, life is short. You and I, we won't be around forever. And we've already had so much of our time wasted by the education system, so much time treated like second-class citizens until we turned 18 that we can't afford to waste any more of it. So if you are genuinely committed and you are ready to experience the best years of your life, grab a notebook and a piece of paper, because what I'm going to share with you will change the rest of your life. Now listen to me very closely. You should become completely obsessed with getting to $10,000 per month in profit as quickly as you can. And to be able to do that, you should lock yourself in a room and not even get out of it before you achieve that goal. So what do I mean exactly? You want to block out all noise, all distractions, anything which won't help you to reach that goal, eliminate it. Now, am I saying, should you stop exercising, reading books? Not necessarily, because at the end of the day, if you don't even have health, what else do you have? Nothing. So it should always be at the top on your list of priorities. But you know, all those toxic friends that don't even actually care to see you succeed, that try to drag you down, to make you feel guilty for working so hard, for having big goals, big ambitions, you know, these 3 hours every day that you spend on social media or playing video games, all of these things are robbing you of your most precious asset, your ability to focus. Because if you can't focus, you might be sitting down at your desk for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, but you won't get anything done. Someone who can focus even just a fraction of that time, they will crush you. They'll get ahead of you easily. Sometimes I have people tell me, oh, but if I only play just a couple hours a day of video games and I go to the gym, I work on my business, I do everything else, I will still become successful. What these people don't get is the concept of opportunity cost. In finance, opportunity cost says that if you invest in, let's say, a business, a project, then it's money, resources that you can't allocate to another project, another business. So you've got to carefully do your research to choose where you're gonna invest your time and your resources. So every single day, that hour that you spend on Netflix playing video games, those 2 hours a day that you spend on social media without even realizing it, it's costing you time that instead you could put in the gym, you could put to learning a new language, you could put towards working on your business, improving yourself as an individual. And the simple truth is, it's pretty easy to beat 99% of people because they're not committed. Most people, the first thing thing they do when they wake up is grab their phone and start scrolling on TikTok and on Instagram. They're frying their brain right from the start of the day. Then they walk to the kitchen like a zombie, and what do they eat? Some eggs, some protein, some veggies, some avocados? Obviously not. They're gonna eat sugary breakfast cereals, and it's not because they can't afford the eggs, the avocados, it's because they don't care. They don't care to take care of their health. However, if you wanna beat the guys making 10, 20, 50, $100,000 a month, guess what? You're gonna need to be more optimized than they are. It would be very easy for Michael Jordan to beat any high school kid. However, when he's competing against the greatest, the best basketball players, to win against all of these guys, it requires a lot more. In business, it's exactly the same thing. So right now, make a list of everything which is wasting your time, draining your soul, or not helping you to move forward, to reach your goals. And for a little while, you're gonna have to remove these things from your life completely. And you might think, oh, but I'm gonna miss playing video games. I'm gonna miss watching movies. But then you're so busy improving yourself. It's been 6 months and you realize, I don't even feel like playing video games or watching a movie. In fact, I couldn't care less, because my life, that I've put in the work, that I've made the sacrifices, it's better than I could have ever possibly wanted. And so you'd much rather just travel, see friends, do other things, live in the real world, as opposed to always being stuck to a screen. So now that you removed all distractions, automatically, because you're not distracted, you become focused. So the question then becomes, well, what am I supposed to work on right now? To be able to get to $10,000 a month, or even above, hard work is a requirement. But at the same time, hard work alone is not enough to succeed. There's plenty of people from all over the world who work extremely hard. They put in 12-hour days, but they're still underpaid and undervalued. So if hard work, if it's not the answer, then what is? Working at the right thing. Warren Buffett, investor, billionaire, one of the wealthiest men on planet Earth, said it doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters what boat you get in. I keep saying this quote again and again because the day that you understand its power, you will become extremely successful. You will make so much money, you won't even know what to do with it. And when your biggest problem is to choose which car you want to drive today, where you want to go on vacation, you won at the game of life. And the next question we can ask ourselves is, how do we work at the right thing? You need to understand that in anything that you do, only a few key activities actually really matter. This is also known as the 80-20 principle. Only 20% of the actions that you do will bring you 80% of the results. And you can notice this trend, this pattern in every single area of life. There's only a small number of people who make the most amount of money. Or to give you another example, most of the time you're only wearing the same clothes again and again. You might have a closet full of wonderful clothes, but most of the time you might just be wearing the same jeans and t-shirts. Because even if you found the right opportunity, but you focus on the tasks that don't matter, that don't move the needle forward, you're not gonna get anywhere. And you'll see your competition moving at such speed, you won't even understand how they do it. That's how they do it. They use the 80-20 principle to their advantage. Now, understanding that is great, but you also need to pick the right opportunity. And by opportunity, I mean a way to generate money. A lot of people think that if you want to be rich, you need to work extremely hard in school, get a great degree, and then you work your way up, you slowly climb the company ladder year after year for decades. And one day, you might be the CEO, you might make 6 figures a year and drive a Benz to the office. And there you are, you made it, you're extremely successful. But I would argue, that's not success. I've seen how very poor people operate. I've seen how middle class people operate, and I've seen how the rich operate. It is completely different. And most of the time, a high-paying career will not turn you into a multi-millionaire. You might get to make 6 figures a year after decades of extremely hard work, of sacrifice, of studying all night, but at what cost? You won't have more freedom, and on top of that, you won't have much geographical freedom. You'll have to be at the office from 9 to 5, and actually, it's more like 80, 90-hour work weeks sometimes, 12-hour days, having to take calls, meetings on the weekends. And as an employee, you don't really have much say over how the company is run. There's many things that you don't influence. But when you're a business owner, you get to control everything. It's your business. Now, a couple decades ago, there was only one type of business that you could start, a brick-and-mortar business. It would be, let's say, a restaurant, a gym, a hair salon, things like that. But nowadays, the arrival of the internet and of social media revolutionized the game of making money and of generating wealth. Because now, to start a business, you no longer need to spend $100,000, even sometimes millions of dollars, to start a physical brick-and-mortar shop. And with an online business, you are no longer just limited to the local clientele. You can sign customers in San Francisco, in Dubai, in Paris. You can sign customers from anywhere. The virtual removed all barriers to entry. All it takes is a laptop, a steady internet connection, and the willingness to learn, to put in the work, and to never give up. Now, to help you, I've recorded a free video in which I analyze every popular online business model. Together, we take a look at the pros, at the cons. That way, you can figure out which one is the best to start in your situation. If you want to learn more about it, I'll leave the link in the description below. Now, this might come as a shock to you, but what actually comes after that is understanding the laws of nature. As a society, as a civilization, we have decided to create a set of rules for everyone to follow. That way, we can all live in harmony, in a cohesive group. And while we created rules, some more harmful than than others. Because we're so self-centered, we tend to forget that the universe that we live in also operates under its own set of rules. Everyone knows about the law of gravity, but less people are aware of things like exponential distribution or the many cognitive biases which human beings are subject to. The thing is, how do you hope to win a game that you don't understand? I'm sure you've heard rules are meant to be broken. The reason why masters are able to win at the game of life, to achieve incredible things, to get everything they want every time, is because of one thing and one thing only. They understand the rules of the game. They know when to break them and when to follow them. Now you might be wondering why I'm telling you about laws of the universe, cognitive biases, and rules of the game and all of that. How is that relevant to making money? But that's because the reason why most people endlessly suffer in life, why they feel as though there is this dark force preventing them from realizing their full potential, is simply because they don't understand how the game works. And so naturally, they end up being the victims of it. Just picture someone getting in a car they've never driven before. No matter what they try, the engine just won't start. They start to get angry. They think, oh, life hates me, why is this happening to me? And next to them is an experienced driver. He laughs because he knows, no, it's not life hating you, you just don't know how to start the car. You lack the proper knowledge. But that is exactly what happens to most people in their day-to-day life. They don't understand the laws of the universe. They don't understand how the game of life works. They start working on a project, on a business, and they give up before they get what they want because they don't understand that growth is exponential, not linear. But if they studied the universe, they would know. And so they'd be patient, they'd put in the work, and they would just know, I might not be seeing crazy results right now, but I just got started. It's gonna take time. Whenever you feel like quitting, whenever you doubt if it's ever gonna work, remember this: growth is not linear, it's exponential. But most people, because they don't understand that, or when they do, they forget about it, they give up. They're in this phase where they're full of doubt. There's no one there to guide them, to reassure them along the way, to tell them, yeah, it's normal if it sucks, if it's painful, if it feels lonely. Every successful person had to go through that phase. But so they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They quit, and then they look at the people on top of the mountain and they think, oh, they got lucky. But they didn't just get there by accident. It's not like to make $1 million. One day you go out, boom, you get hit by a strike of lightning, and all of a sudden you are a multi-millionaire. That's not how things work. There is such a thing as luck, sure, but if that's the story that you tell yourself, if every time you see someone driving a nice car or being successful you say, oh, they just got lucky, guess what? You're not gonna be putting in the work, because if success is just about luck, then what's the point of even trying? But if that's how you react, that's your approach to life, you can't blame the world for not having what you want. Now with that said, what are you waiting for? It's time to get back to work.